guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. Geeky Sparkles is sitting this video out. We're going to talk about legacy media imploding. There are going to be a lot of layoffs in legacy media, and it might be hastened by Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter. But really what's doing them in is that the money has run out, right? The money has run out. We've talked about this multiple times on the channel that so many of these websites have been propped up with venture capital and advertising, which is drying up, and it was never really sustainable. And what happens is these websites wind up, laying people off, shutting down completely, consolidating with other websites. We saw the debacle that was BuzzFeed, and Vox and Vice are, I believe, facing a similar fate. Even the New York Times is not immune to this, and definitely pop culture blogs, video game blogs, because they're non-essential news sources, and most of them are being run by people that despise the gamers, despise the geeks, despise the products that they're talking about, despise comic books and comic book fans, and they use these platforms to demonize people. And so I guess what we're going to talk about is the democracy being brought to journalism. And again, it's not just Twitter. I think this is a long time coming. This is what the internet was for originally, and then legacy media kind of got its meat hooks into the internet, and they started controlling the flow of news and the flow of information. And it's not looking too good. Let's talk about all these companies that are going to be laying people off. It's bad. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 282,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. So let's go out and see what's going on here. The news, talking late about Elon Musk and the Twitter files and the Hunter Biden laptop situation. I'm not going to get into detail on that, right? But, this is something that the media tried very hard to hide, and it got outed anyway. Now it seems like Twitter or, other sites like Twitter will be first to the news. That seems to be the case too. I mean, we've had situations where we've broken stories, and it took the legacy media time to catch on. But Musk said the more Twitter improves its signal to noise ratio, the less relevant conventional news will become. Legacy media is on the way out. You have accelerated the inevitable, says Scow7777. It is the inevitable. So let's talk about this. I saw yesterday that 1,000 New York Times union members are threatening to walk out. And what is going to happen is that the New York Times is going to realize that they really don't need that many writers, right? The New York Times has not been in a very good place for a while now. And if these people are going to walk out, they'll just be like, hey, we can't afford to keep you guys on. We'll buy you out, whatever we have to do. And I've seen this happen at a lot of websites lately, a lot of media outlets. Like, now is the worst possible time to go on strike. Like, you're lucky to have a job at all. So this is coming from Axios. More than 1,000 members of the New York Times union, which includes hundreds of newsroom staffers, plan to walk out on the job if the company's management doesn't agree to the terms of a new contract by December 8th. The two parties have been at odds for more than a year and a half over a slew of issues, most notably wage increases. We are entering a recession. The ad revenue is drying up. You're not going to get a raise, guys. You're lucky to have a job. Those tensions have hit a boiling point heading into the holiday season. In a letter sent to management Friday, the News Guild of New York reiterated its demands to management and conveyed a level of frustration over the drawn-out talks. We've spent more than 120 hours across 40 bargaining sessions exchanging and amending dozens of proposals. We have listened carefully to management's positions and concerns and have made countless revisions to address them. In return, we have been lectured about the dire economic future the company faces, even as the company tells Wall Street about a successful corporation that can afford to pay millions in salaries and benefits to top executives. This is going to end pretty soon, I think. The letter sent to the Times publisher, A.G. Sulzberger, and its president and CEO, Meredith Kopit Levine, I think, listed key demands, including a new raise structure, keeping pension plan policies intact, and changes to performance evaluations. A big part of the union's argument has been that the Times management has refused to bring adequate wage increase proposals to the negotiating table. That is not going to happen going into a recession. Despite the fact that the Times is doing better financially than it has in many years, and then continues to increase dividend payouts. Well, if they're making more money, they're going to have to probably save it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you there. I mean, this particular situation, the New York Times, I know I've read multiple articles, mostly from their competitors, mind you, but multiple articles talking about how the Times is not doing very well, right? A lot of companies not doing very well. Gannett starts another round of staff cuts December 1st. They own USA Today, the Star, the Detroit Free Press, laying more people off. 6% of its 3,400 person U.S. media division getting laid off. Now that's across multiple newspapers. New York Times has 1,000 people working just at the New York Times. CNN, from CNN, the Paramount media companies are cutting jobs. This is the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal. As advertising slows down, economic worries and strains of the shift to streaming have many major media companies in cost-cutting and layoff mode. News organizations, TV networks, movie and television studios, and entertainment giants laid off hundreds of workers over the past week alone, including Warner Brothers, CNN, and Paramount. The moves come after many entertainment companies spent the last few years spending heavily on streaming services that are now a drag on financial results. Traditional broadcast and cable television, meanwhile, continue to face viewer and subscriber erosion. Add on fears of a recession and a slowdown in ad spending, and an industry that managed to survive, in some cases thrive, as audiences swelled during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, a lot of these companies actually own news outlets, like Warner Brothers. They've been laying off heavily at CNN. In fact, they said CNN low ratings, advertising concerns, and challenges at its parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, led to layoffs. In a memo to the staff, Chris Light said CNN's sister channel, HLM, would stop carrying live programming as part of its cost-saving efforts. Gannett laying people off. Again, USA Today, 400 job cuts. They've been laying people off. The Labor Department said Friday that the U.S. labor market remained historically tight. Employment in the information sector has grown faster than the broader labor market in recent months, with the jobs increasing 5% from January through November. It could take time for ongoing layoffs to show up in economic data because there's typically a gap between when companies announce them and when people are let go. Yeah, some people are bought out. Some people, they technically are still on payroll for months after the fact. NPR on Wednesday said the decline in corporate sponsorships in light of a worldwide economic shock. There's no recession. Meant it must cut at least $10 million from its budget for the year, and that it would essentially freeze hiring. The company said it would try to avoid layoffs. I mean, they're all laying off. Everybody's laying off. I don't know what to tell you. But attacking Twitter, which they're doing, isn't going to help. Demanding that they give you a raise during a recession when you're lucky to have a job at all is not going to help. And I really do think at the end of it, we are going to see everything get reshuffled. We're going to see that, we're going to have more citizen journalists. We're going to see that our pop culture news is actually going to come from people that watch, read, consume the product, enjoy the product. And I think that is going to lead to changes in the kind of content that's produced, because so far, for the last 6 or 8 years, we've had slacktivists controlling the media, giving companies, I believe, a false impression of what the larger audience wants. And they've been chasing media approval, basically, to their own detriment. Then you get stuff like Strange World that loses $100 million for Disney or whatever. This is going to end. A lot of this is going to end. When I said the pendulum was going to swing, damn, I did not think it was going to swing as hard as it has. But I think we're going to see a lot of these websites that constantly write these hit pieces. I think they're going to get gone. I really do. I think this is, a definitely going to lead to a more democratic internet. We're going to have smaller, nimbler websites producing content for their audiences, and being able to react to news a lot faster. and we're going to get honest opinions, because I don't think they're going to be drowned out by these big media companies anymore, because they don't have the money to drown out the little guy anymore. They used to have the money to plow tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month into like Facebook ads and all this shit to make sure that the only voice you heard was theirs, and that money is not there anymore. So now we're going to see what people actually think, and I'm actually excited about that. I mean, look, some of the stuff people think, yeah, not cool. I'm going to be honest, but I am excited to see what happens next, because I think we're definitely heading out of this dark time in internet history when corporations like ran everything, and hopefully into something a little more fair, a little more democratic. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun ride though, right? Hopefully. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.